All right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick's Strength and Power. So today I wanted to make a video about a bodybuilder by the name of Bob Cicherillo. Now, a lot of you guys might recognize that name because Bob Cicherillo is essentially the voice of bodybuilding. I mean, this is the guy that MCs the Mr. Olympia. He does the interview with Arnold the day after the Arnold Classic, the Breakfast with the Champions. He was the host of one of the earliest bodybuilding radio shows, Pro Bodybuilding Weekly, which he hosted with Dan Solomon. He's appeared on multiple TV shows, including Malcolm in the Middle, American Gladiators. He was in the movie Dodgeball. He travels the world doing seminars and emceeing shows. And I think he's just a really good ambassador for the sport of bodybuilding. I would say if there's one pro bodybuilder that's out there doing something that I would consider to be the closest to what I want to do within bodybuilding, I think Bob Cicherillo would be that guy. I mean, he's doing pretty much everything he can to be the voice of bodybuilding, to be an ambassador for bodybuilding, to represent bodybuilding, to provide a face for bodybuilding. I mean, this guy, he wears the crazy fancy suits. He does the press conference at the Olympia. He asks all the tough questions. He gets, the rivalries going. He gets the drama going. He MCs the Olympia. He's commentated the Olympia. I mean, this guy is literally the voice of bodybuilding, and I have a lot of respect for what he does and what he has done for the sport of bodybuilding. I think what a lot of people might not know is he was actually a pro bodybuilder in the early 2000s. I mean, he actually had a pretty short-lived professional career. So while a lot of people might think of Bob Cicherillo as, the guy in the funny suit, the guy in the fancy suit, saying something funny at the Mr. Olympia, he actually was a pro bodybuilder starting in 2000 when he won the NPC USAs. He won the super heavyweight category, and then he won the overall. And he would go on to compete until 2006. So I would say out of all his competitive years, I think 2002 was the year he looked his best, placing second at the Night of Champions, which is like the third biggest show in bodybuilding. At the time, it would become the New York Pro later on. But in 2002, that second place at the Night of Champions, I think, was a very big deal for Bob Cicherillo. I think that was one of the better physiques that he brought to a pro stage. And not only that, but the fact that he took second to Marcus Rule. And I made a video about this before. 2002 Night of Champions Marcus Rule, I feel, was Marcus Rule's best physique that he ever brought to a pro stage ever. I mean, he just looked hands down just the freakiest bodybuilder I had ever seen. 2002 Marcus Rule was just crazy. So it's not like Bob Cicherillo took second to some nobody. He took second to probably one of the freakiest versions of Marcus Rule ever. And that's a very impressive feat. And he beat guys like Darren Charles, Craig Titus, Paul Dillette, Tom Prince, Gustavo Bedell, Mustafa Muhammad. I mean, he beat a lot of top guys that were top guys in the 90s or would go on to be top guys later on in the 2000s, like Gustavo Bedell. So that was actually a pretty impressive lineup that Bob Cicherillo took second in. And that same year, he would have a top 5 finish at the Toronto Pro, and he would have another second place finish at the 2002 Southwest Pro Cup. And from that point on, he was pretty much outside of the top 6. The 2006 Night of Champions, his placing would drop to 6th place. In the 2004 Arnold Classic, he got 11th, 8th at the 2004 Ironman, 8th at the New York Pro in 2005, 9th at the San Francisco Pro in 2005. Then in 2006, he would win the Masters Pro World Cup, which actually qualified him to compete in the 2006 Olympia. But it was at that point that he made the decision not to compete and instead become the host of the Mr. Olympia and MC the Mr. Olympia rather than being a competitor. So 2006 was where he made the leap from being a competitive bodybuilder to becoming the voice of bodybuilding. So all said and done, he only competed as a pro from 2001 to 2006, so a very short 5-year career as a pro. But I think with the direction that his placings were headed, he went the right route with it, and becoming a voice and a face for bodybuilding was a much more lucrative move for him, and it's something he's much better at. I think he's got a great voice. I think he's got great humor. He's got great commentary. He's got great things to say. I mean, he's a very personable guy, it seems like. So I just wanted to make a video giving Bob Cicherillo some props from his years as a pro, because I'm sure a lot of the younger guys that are watching this video weren't following bodybuilding back then or weren't around and don't know much about Bob Cicherillo's past. I mean, if you guys are like teenagers or in high school and you're following bodybuilding now, probably the only thing you know about Bob Cicherillo is he's the host of the Olympia. He's the guy with the funny suit. So I wanted to kind of give you guys a little bit more background and perspective on who Bob Cicherillo was. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Nick Strength and Power, signing out.